motornya. Apapun gayanya, apapun medannya, no problemo. Karena olinya... Oli enduro, motor tangguh, no problemo.
Sania Royal Rice Bran Oil dengan powerful gamma oregano, sempurna untuk menggoreng dan masak apapun yang kamu suka. Sehat tanpa batasan, Sania Royal.
Pas aku coba le mineral, seger banget, nggak bikin enak sama sekali.
Benar, karena le mineral mengandung mineral esensial yang tercantum jelas di kemasannya. Inilah yang membuat rasa airnya lebih segar.
Kayak ada manis-manisnya.
Le Mineral.
Within the midst of the world's largest volcanic lake, F1 Powerboat Lake Toba is back. Another action-packed chapter in racing is about to unfold. Within the midst of the world's largest volcanic lake, F1 Powerboat Lake Toba is back. Another action-packed chapter in racing is about to unfold. in Journey Presents Within the midst of the world's largest volcanic lake, F1 Powerboat Lake Toba is back. Another action-packed chapter in racing is about to unfold. Within the midst of the world's largest volcanic lake, F1 Powerboat Lake Toba is back. Another action-packed chapter in racing is about to unfold. Journey presents 2024 Grand Prix of Lake Toba, Indonesia, the ultimate celebration of rich culture and natural beauty combined with the excitement of racing. Stand witness as 18 international drivers battle it out for the prestige.
Dengan Fastron, pakai Fastron. Fastron, gas on! Apapun mobilnya, kemanapun tujuannya, Oli yang memahami semua mobil di Indonesia. Fastron, gas on!
10 dari 10 wanita ingin kulitnya lembut. Sabun susu Larvia dengan ekstrak susu kambing. Meresap lebih cepat, lebih dalam sebelum dibilas. Larvia, makin dipakai, yakin lembutin kulit. Ada lotion susu juga. Yang ada, kambing cantiknya.
Sania Royal Rice Bran Oil dengan powerful gamma oregano, sempurna untuk menggoreng dan masak apapun yang kamu suka. Sehat tanpa batasan, Sania Royal.
Pas aku coba le mineral, seger banget, nggak bikin enak sama sekali.
Benar, karena Le Mineral mengandung mineral esensial yang tercantum jelas di kemasannya. Inilah yang membuat rasa airnya lebih segar.
Kayak ada manis-manisnya.
Le Mineral.
Within the midst of the world's largest volcanic lake, F1 Powerboat Lake Toba is back. Another action-packed chapter in racing is about to unfold. Within the midst of the world's largest volcanic lake, F1 Powerboat Lake Toba is back. Another action-packed chapter in racing is about to unfold. Enjoy Within the midst of the world's largest volcanic lake, F1 Powerboat Lake Toba is back. Another action-packed chapter in racing is about to unfold. Within the midst of the world's largest volcanic lake, F1 Powerboat Lake Toba is back. Another action-packed chapter in racing is about to unfold. In Journey presents 2020 Solu Bolon Company.
Nikmati beragam keistimewaan dalam satu aplikasi.
My Pertamina, semua jadi istimewa. Sania Royal Rice Bran Oil dengan powerful gamma oregano, sempurna untuk menggoreng dan masak apapun yang kamu suka. Sehat tanpa batasan, Sania Royal.
Pas aku coba le mineral, seger banget, nggak bikin enak sama sekali.
Benar, karena Le Mineral mengandung mineral esensial yang tercantum jelas di kemasannya. Inilah yang membuat rasa airnya lebih segar.
Kayak ada manis-manisnya.
Le Mineral.
Within the midst of the world's largest volcanic lake, F1 Powerboat Lake Toba is back. Another action-packed chapter in racing is about to unfold.
Halo, selamat pagi pecinta olahraga. Senang sekali saya Brigita Kue dapat kembali hadir ke layar kaca Anda. Kali ini dalam event spesial F1 Powerboat Lake Toba tahun 2024 live dari Pelabuhan Mulia Raja Napitupulu, Bali G, Toba, Sumatera Utara. Nah, mengapa saya katakan event ini adalah event spesial? Karena ini merupakan seri ke-300 diselenggarakannya F1 Powerboat sejak tahun 1984 dan di Danau Toba, Sumatera Utara, tepatnya ini merupakan kedua kalinya diselenggarakan ajang ataupun juga kompetisi F1 Powerboat yang bertaraf internasional. Sebelum kita menyaksikan secara langsung seperti apa live F1 Powerboat tahun 2024 dari Danau Toba pukul 11 nanti, saya akan berbincang-bincang bersama narasumber yang sangat cantik. Di sini ada Mbak Maya Watono, selaku Direktur Pemasaran dan juga Program Pariwisata dari Injourney. Selamat pagi Mbak Maya.
Selamat pagi Mbak Brigita.
Gimana kabarnya hari ini?
Baik, ini ya excited banget.
Excited banget,
iya,
apalagi backgroundnya nih suara-suara tes mesin sudah mulai terdengar di belakang kita.
Suara-suara boat sudah mulai turun ke danau dan kita udah pump up semua adrenalin.
Betul sekali.
Dengan keindahan Danau Toba di belakang kita, luar biasa sekali.
Luar biasa, tetap semangat ya.
Tetap
nah,
semangat.
mungkin kita sebelum membahas mengenai F1 Powerboat itu sendiri, saya ingin menanyakan mengenai teman-teman dari Injourney ini sendiri, kira-kira bergerak di bidang apa Mbak Maya dan sudah memegang event-event seperti apa nih kalau teman-teman dari Injourney sendiri?
Iya, mungkin sedikit gambaran mengenai Injourney. Injourney ini adalah strategic holding BUMN di bidang pariwisata dan aviasi. Jadi di bawah kami ada bandara, ada ITDC, pengembangan destinasi, heritage management, menaungi Borobudur, Prambanan, Taman Mini, lalu kita ada hotel network dan juga ada retail. Jadi ini adalah ekosistem pariwisata terbesar di Indonesia, bahkan terbesar di Asia, yang dibentuk waktu itu di awal tahun 2022.
2022, berarti terbilang baru juga
baru
ya?
banget, baru 2 tahun. Dan memang objektifnya ada 2 objektif saat dibentuk. Satu adalah akselerasi pariwisata di Indonesia post pandemi. Lalu kedua adalah membangun ekosistem yang terintegrasi dari hulu ke hilir untuk pariwisata Indonesia dan aviasi. Karena karena ini belum pernah terjadi sebelumnya. Ekosistem ini dijadikan satu kekuatan besar dan kita tahu bahwa memang pariwisata ini adalah backbone of economic growth sebenarnya. Jadi kontribusi pariwisata terhadap GDP kita saat ini di angka 4%, tapi potensi untuk meningkatkan jauh lebih besar. Nah, itu adalah tugas InJourney untuk menyatukan ekosistem pariwisata, tapi pastinya juga melalui event-event berskala internasional sebagai KPI pengembangan destinasi, di mana Danau Toba adalah salah satu destinasi super prioritas yang telah dicanangkan pemerintah.
Baik, kira-kira kenapa nih harus tempatnya di Danau Toba? Karena kan kita tahu Indonesia ini memiliki keindahan alam yang beragam dan luas sekali gitu ya. Nah, kenapa Danau Toba akhirnya terpilih dan juga masuk kualifikasi untuk tempat penyelenggaraan ajang bertaraf internasional ini tentunya?
Iya, kita dari pemerintah ada mencanangkan 5 destinasi super prioritas. Mandalika, Labuan Bajo, Danau Toba, Borobudur, dan Likupang. Jadi salah satunya adalah Danau Toba, di mana setiap destinasi ini memiliki segmentasi target positioning yang berbeda ya. Jadi pastinya Danau Toba sebagai danau vulkanis terbesar di dunia ini sangat cocok untuk water sports dan water tourism. Karena itu kita membawa ajang internasional water sports di Danau Toba dan sehingga dunia juga bisa melihat ini ada 180 juta pasang mata yang menonton hari ini live di seluruh dunia hari ini dan besok, dan bisa melihat keindahan Danau Toba. Ini memang suatu branding dan marketing yang tidak bisa dibeli, dan ini akan menjadi cascade untuk nation branding. Nah, ini yang kita memang kenapa di Danau Toba, karena memang pastinya keindahan Danau Toba yang luar biasa ya. Ini semua riders bilang
sangat
ini tempat
breathtaking ya.
Iya, tempat tercantik yang mereka race. Lalu juga cukup challenging karena di atas permukaan sea level dan bahkan engine harus dirubah dan lain sebagainya supaya mengakomodir landscape Danau Toba ini.
Baik, nah kalau kita melihat penyelenggaraan F1 Powerboat ini kan adalah kedua kalinya ya sebelum diselenggarakan tahun 2023. Bagaimana nih Mbak Maya melihat antusiasme dari warga Kabupaten Toba sendiri ataupun Sumatera Utara, khususnya masyarakat Indonesia menyambut event F1 Powerboat ini?
Antusiasmenya luar biasa. Saya sudah di sini sudah 5 hari. Kemarin 2 hari yang lalu penuh semua jalanan. Ini luar biasa antusiasmenya ya.
Dan banyak sekali UMKM lokal ini dilibatkan juga gitu ya Mbak Maya?
Iya, ini ratusan UMKM lokal di seluruh jalan, bahkan di seluruh danau. Kalau Mbak Brigita lihat kan sepanjang danau ini semua nobar dan semua ada kafe, ini nobar. Jadi memang antusiasmenya luar biasa. Saya juga lihat banyak sekali masyarakat berdatangan dari Medan. Ini berbeda dari tahun lalu. Jadi kita lihat ada pertumbuhan di situ. Jadi dari Medan banyak sekali yang datang reuni di sini.
Pertumbuhan ekonominya juga pastinya akan tergenjot gitu ya Mbak Maya. Nah, berbicara masalah pertumbuhan ekonomi, kemarin itu Menko Marves Bapak Luhut Binsar Panjaitan sempat mengatakan bahwa dari penyelenggaraan F1 Powerboat tahun 2023 itu membuat pertumbuhan ekonomi mencapai 1,68 triliun rupiah dan ditargetkan pada penyelenggaraan F1 Powerboat tahun 2024 ini akan mencapai 2 triliun rupiah. Apakah Mbak Maya juga pendapat dan optimis juga nih?
Sangat optimis karena memang dampak ekonomi dari suatu event ini luar biasa ya. Event ini tidak hanya sekedar event tapi adalah katalis dari pengembangan destinasi. Jadi kita lihat memang multiplier effect dari suatu event itu luar biasa. Akomodasi, pembangunan infrastruktur, UMKM, F&B ini saya lihat banyak sekali pertumbuhan akomodasi F&B di Bali G ya. Terutama ini memang sangat luar biasa. Jadi dampak ekonominya multiplier efeknya dan terutama ini akan menjadi sustainable ke depan. Tidak hanya satu kali event ini tapi multiplier efeknya akan terus bergulir 5 tahun ke depan.
Efeknya juga berjangka panjang seperti itu Mbak Maya ya. Apalagi kemarin juga Menpora juga sempat membocorkan bahwa akan dibuat akademi di sini gitu ya.
Betul. Investasi yang dilakukan di Danau Toba ini luar biasa. Minggu lalu kita baru meresmikan bintang 5 hotel di Samosir. Dan sudah ada groundbreaking hotel maupun villa-villa lainnya di sekitar Bali G, maupun kita salah satu hotel kami di Parapat akan kami revitalisasi menjadi hotel bintang 5. Jadi kita lihat bahwa memang dengan adanya suatu event ajang internasional ini adalah katalis pembangunan. Memang membangun seperti akomodasi, infrastruktur, membuka aktivitas itu tidak semudah membalik sebelah tangan ya. Ini butuh effort yang
butuh
sustainable.
exposure juga ya,
Betul.
apalagi ini kan exposure-nya pasti bertaraf internasional juga gitu ya, globally gitu.
Iya, brand awareness, exposure,
Ya.
kesabaran, sustainability untuk terus membangun. Kita lihat bahwa baru-baru ini Toba dinobatkan sebagai top 50 must visit destinations oleh New York Times. Tiba-tiba melejit ke nomor 24. Karena awareness yang didapatkan itu luar biasa. Jadi memang ini sustainable effort yang harus kita lakukan, yang harus didukung juga dengan konektivitas, pembukaan konektivitas di bandara-bandara, lalu infrastruktur, dan juga akomodasi, amenities, facilities yang memadai attraction untuk membangun destinasi ini. Dan itu butuh concerted effort dari semua pihak ya, semua kementerian dan lembaga, pemerintah provinsi, pemerintah daerah, swasta juga, kita bahu-membahu untuk membangun destinasi ini secara jangka panjang.
Panitia penyelenggara.
Iya.
Baik, Mbak Maya sendiri kalau dalam penyelenggaraan event F1 Powerboat yang tahun lalu 2023 ikut terlibat juga?
Saya terlibat dari awal, dari sebelum tempat ini berdiri. Waktu itu belum seperti ini dan
karena baru pertama kali tentu saja kan.
Betul, dan bersama dengan kementerian lembaga yang lain, dengan Kemenko Marves, kita membangun ini pelabuhan dan area lapangan Sisingamaraja ini sehingga menjadi suatu tempat destinasi yang luar biasa ya. Jadi dari awal saya ada.
Dari awal. Nah, kalau gitu saya mau tanya nih, tantangannya seperti apa? Apalagi kan event Powerboat ini kan tidak semua masyarakat Indonesia mengenal gitu ya. Pasti kan ada tantangan-tantangan tersendiri ketika diselenggarakan untuk pertama kalinya di Danau Toba ini. Seperti apa sih challenge dari Mbak Maya dan teman-teman Injourney?
Tantangan pastinya ada ya. Membangun destinasi ini seperti saya tadi katakan tidak mudah. Tidak semudah membalik sebelah tangan. Kalau kita lihat Bali itu puluhan tahun kita membangun Bali. Jadi memang butuh kesabaran untuk terus improvement membangun destinasi ini. Yang terpenting adalah sebenarnya konektivitas dan infrastruktur. Produknya itu sendiri sebagai destinasi. Attraction, akomodasi, amenities, facilities. Lalu didukung oleh promosi yang besar melalui ajang-ajang event internasional seperti ini. Jadi menurut saya memang challenge pasti ada ya. Dan hospitality itu juga suatu challenge, tapi tidak hanya di Danau Toba. Di seluruh destinasi super prioritas yang kita sedang galakan ya, itu memang challenge-nya sama, kurang lebih konektivitas, infrastruktur, hospitality. Jadi kami juga melakukan pelatihan hospitality untuk masyarakat sekitar gitu.
Ada pelatihannya bahkan ya untuk hospitality-nya
Untuk
sendiri.
hospitality,
Kalau
betul.
boleh tahu deh persiapan sebelum melakukan promosi mulai dari pelatihan hospitality dan lain-lain sebagainya, itu kira-kira berapa bulan atau berapa hari sebelum pelaksanaan event?
Ini berbulan-bulan, Mbak.
Berbulan-bulan ya?
Untuk F1 Powerboat yang pertama kita 5 bulan melakukan
5
itu
bulan.
dari pembangunan semua infrastruktur dan lain sebagainya, lalu pelatihan itu 5 bulan. Kali ini kita sekitar 2-3 bulan karena kita sudah lebih experience ya, kita sudah lebih mengerti, jadi kita sekitar 2-3 bulan. Tapi itu memang harus dilakukan terplanning secara secara baik dan juga untuk dampak jangka panjangnya supaya ini semua terrealisasi.
Baik Mbak Maya, ini kan kalau kita lihat event F1 Powerboat yang 2024 ini menjadi lebih ramai lagi gitu ya. Saya lihat banyak sekali UMKM lokal yang terlibat. Nah, pertanyaan saya ini apakah yang dilibatkan hanya UMKM lokal dari Bali sendiri atau mungkin teman-teman pegiat UMKM dari luar Sumatera Utara juga dilibatkan?
Iya. Pastinya kita memfokuskan karena at the end of the day ini kan harus ada pemerataan ekonomi di daerah. Dan kita itu adalah tujuan utamanya adalah membangun ekonomi di daerah. Pastinya kita fokuskan ini di daerah seputar Balige, tapi juga kita ada kurasi untuk seluruh Sumatera Utara.
Sumatera Utara ya?
Terutama memfokuskan di Danau Toba. Salah satu role kami juga ingin mengelevasi UMKM yang ada sehingga packagingnya juga cantik gitu kan untuk bisa bertaraf internasional. Jadi semua yang ada di sini saya rasa udah jauh lebih improve dari tahun lalu. Bahkan yang di sepanjang danau kalau kita lihat kan luar biasa ya
Betul, tadi
pertumbuhannya.
saya sempat lewat di pinggiran jalan sebelah sana, ini masyarakat lokal juga sudah ngatur bangku gitu ya.
Iya.
Excited sekali untuk menyambut penyelenggaraan F1 Powerboat
Iya
tahun
betul.
2024.
Dan bikin paket-paket kafe, paket-paket
Wah, itu
makanan
dia.
ya.
Jadi
Luar
efeknya
biasa.
ini domino gitu Mbak Maya ya,
Iya.
bukan hanya dari segi infrastruktur maupun pariwisata, tapi juga pertumbuhan ekonomi kita harapkan di Kabupaten Balige ini sendiri juga semakin bertumbuh gitu ya.
Pastinya. Ya.
Oke, Mbak Maya, ini gimana nih melihat penyelenggaraan F1 Powerboat tahun 2024 kalau kita bandingkan dengan tahun lalu? Apa yang Mbak Maya harapkan menjadi evaluasi untuk tahun 2024 dan tentunya kita harapkan ya untuk penyelenggaraan F1 Powerboat selanjutnya juga bisa di Danau Toba lagi nih?
Iya, pastinya kita melakukan beberapa improvement tahun ini. Kita belajar dari tahun lalu mengenai cuaca terutama ya, bahwa memang cuaca di Danau Toba ini cukup unpredictable
betul,
gitu.
betul,
Jadi
betul.
siang
kalau
ini
tantangannya udah alam agak susah
alam,
ya Mbak Maya ya.
Iya betul. Jadi memang angin itu cukup kencang di siang hari sehingga untuk safety para riders, visibility itu berkurang. Kita lakukan race di pagi hari. Lalu di siang hari kita melakukan kejuaraan nasional jet ski. Sehingga kita ada banyak ombak untuk kejuaraan jet ski, tapi juga kita menginjek banyak sekali local culture. Sepanjang 2 hari ini kita ada 300 penari dan ini akan masif sekali menampilkan seluruh tarian etnis Batak.
Ya, akan lebih meriah lagi gitu ya.
Akan lebih meriah lagi, luar biasa.
Oke, Mbak Maya, sebelum kita ngobrol-ngobrol soal itu, saya ada teman saya nih yang sudah siap di lapangan, Erza Nabila, yang akan melaporkan seperti apa persiapan detik-detik penyelenggaraan F1 Powerboat Lake Toba tahun 2024. Selamat pagi Erza Nabila, silahkan dengan laporan Anda terkait dengan persiapan penyelenggaraan F1 Powerboat 2024.
Ya, Brigita dan juga pemirsa TVRI Sport, akhirnya kita tiba di hari penyelenggaraan F1 Powerboat Danau Toba 2024. Setelah kemarin berlangsung babak kualifikasi untuk F1 Powerboat dan juga free practice untuk aquabike, jet ski, kejurnas. Kali ini kita akan segera menyaksikan ajang balap sprint race yang baru pertama kali digelar untuk para peserta dari F1 Powerboat. Pada sprint race nanti akan terbagi menjadi 2 kali balapan, sprint race 1 dan juga sprint race 2 yang diawali dengan parade yang nanti akan diikuti oleh total 17 rider dari 10 tim yang hadir pada kesempatan kali ini. Dan pemirsa, berbicara terkait sprint race, ini berbeda dengan balapan utama karena balapan utama sendiri akan berlangsung pada hari Minggu esok. Jadi kita masih punya kesempatan untuk menyaksikan penampilan dari rider jet perahu ini untuk bisa melihat seperti apa kecepatan mereka dan strategi mereka untuk mencatatkan waktu terbaik. Sama seperti sprint race di baik itu MotoGP ataupun F1 mobil pada umumnya, sprint race nanti para pembalap mendapat kesempatan untuk mengitari lintasan sebanyak 1 kali dan nanti akan didapat catatan waktu tercepat yang berhak meraih gelar sebagai pembalap dengan atau pemenang sprint race 1 dan juga sprint race 2. Selain F1 Powerboat, pemirsa, pada hari ini nanti di siang hari kurang lebih sekitar pukul 12 akan dilangsungkan kompetisi solo bolon yang juga menjadi gebrakan yang dihadirkan oleh wanita penyelenggara pada gelaran F1 Powerboat 2024 dan setelahnya akan berlangsung untuk kualifikasi aquabike, kejuaraan nasional aquabike jet ski yang tentu menjadi menarik untuk terus kita saksikan. Dan pemirsa, berbicara juga terkait F1 Powerboat ini perlu atau patut dinantikan kita bersama karena kita akan melihat seperti apa kecepatan perahu-perahu tersebut di laut dengan kecepatan mencapai 220 km per jam. Dan pada kesempatan kali ini, meskipun balapan akan dimulai masih sekitar 10-15 menit lagi, tapi masyarakat sudah terlihat antusias memenuhi area penonton untuk menyaksikan secara langsung gelaran F1 Powerboat, baik itu untuk kategori Grandstand A, Grandstand B, ataupun kategori yang dibuka secara mendadak karena membludaknya antusias masyarakat, yakni festival. Jadi pemirsa, jangan sampai lewatkan nanti F1 Powerboat yang akan dimulai tepat pukul 11.00 untuk kategori sprint race 1. Jadi tetaplah saksikan F1 Powerboat di kanal TVRI Sport dan kita kembali ke Brigita.
Parah banget nih, kurang semangat. Ini udah ngopi belum?
Belum.
Udah minum belum?
Belum.
Udah makan belum?
Nabila melaporkan langsung dari spot terdekat di mana saat lagi pada pukul 11 tepat waktu Indonesia Barat kita akan menyaksikan secara langsung penyelenggaraan F1 Powerboat Lake Toba tahun 2024. Dan pecinta olahraga dapat kami informasikan juga bahwa olahraga ini telah memainkan sebanyak 279 Grand Prix dari 32 negara di 5 benua. Dan selama 15 tahun terakhir ini sudah ada sebanyak 14 pembalap yang meraih gelar dunianya, di mana dari 14 juara dunia itu 7-nya merupakan peraih gelar ganda. Dan pada F1 Powerboat tahun 2024 ini kita akan menyaksikan sebanyak 9 tim, 18 rider mewakili 6 negara berbeda akan bertanding tentunya beradu cepat merebut gelar juara dunia dari ajang F1 Powerboat Lake Toba tahun 2024. Dan di sini saya bisa merasakan tentunya antusiasme dari masyarakat Bali G, Kabupaten Toba, Sumatera Utara sendiri dalam menyambut penyelenggaraan ajang kelas internasional ini. Bukan hanya warga lokal saja ya pecinta olahraga, tetapi di sini juga banyak sekali masyarakat Indonesia dari berbagai daerah ataupun juga dari berbagai negara yang tentu saja sudah berbondong-bondong datang ke pinggir Danau Toba untuk menyaksikan penyelenggaraan F1 Powerboat Lake Toba tahun 2024 yang akan dimulai beberapa menit lagi. Dan tanpa berlama-lama langsung saja kita akan menyaksikan secara live seperti apa penyelenggaraan F1 Powerboat Lake Toba tahun 2024. Ini dia.
Dan event ini diselenggarakan oleh Injeni sebagai Indonesia Aviation dan juga Tourism yang didukung oleh Kementerian Koordinator Bidang Kemaritiman dan juga Investasi, Kementerian Pariwisata, Kementerian Perhubungan, BUMN, Dinas dan juga pemerintah setempat dan juga pihak-pihak lainnya. Dan tahun ini F1 Powerboat mempunyai
long way back and put himself up into the top 3. Now Eric Stark a year ago, second in this championship, and also made it on the podium, moved up in front. He did a dazzling sub 103 second mark, and he came across the line. But his old friend and teammate, yes, this is Jonas Andersson, a defending world champion. He went even faster. He did a 102.662, and he bumped, yes, Eric Stark off the pole by 3/100ths of a second, and it was Jonas Andersson picking up his 5th pole position in his last 6 race starts, and he will start number 1 in heat race number 1. Now, we're, yeah? Okay. 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 Yep. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. You mean the one where you show the white area going all the way around it? Yeah. Can you control that speed as it goes? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Fine, that's good. Have I got to stick to that white line that goes around? It's too fast. Oh, okay.
Within the midst of the world's largest volcanic lake, F1 Powerboat Lake Toba is back. Another action-packed chapter in racing is about to unfold.
Nikmati beragam keistimewaan dalam satu aplikasi.
My Pertamina, semua jadi istimewa.
10 dari 10 wanita ingin kulitnya lembut. Sabun susu Larvia dengan ekstrak susu kambing. Meresap lebih cepat, lebih dalam sebelum dibilas. Larvia, makin dipakai, yakin lembutin kulit. Ada lotion susu juga. Yang ada, kambing cantiknya.
Sania Royal Rice Bran Oil dengan powerful gamma oregano, sempurna untuk menggoreng dan masak apapun yang kamu suka. Sehat tanpa batasan, Sania Royal.
Pas aku coba Le Mineral, seger banget, nggak bikin enak sama sekali.
Benar, karena Le Mineral mengandung mineral esensial yang tercantum jelas di kemasannya. Inilah yang membuat rasa airnya lebih segar.
Kayak ada manis-manisnya.
Le Mineral.
From the edge, the world's largest volcanic lake in the heart of the island of Sumatra, it's the opening round of the 2024 UIM Formula One World Championship at the Pertamina Grand Prix of Indonesia. Hi everybody, I'm your host, Stephen Michael, welcoming you along with my broadcast partner, multi-time world champion Jonathan Jones, and we greet you on a lovely late morning as we get set for what should be a pair of dramatic heat races with drivers fighting for valuable championship points prior to tomorrow's Grand Prix. Now, we are just a few degrees north of the equator as we enjoy this historic and serene part of the Far East. Now, Jonathan, this is your second visit here to Lake Toba, and I'll tell you something, for me, it's so different from our Western culture, and the people here may be the friendliest group in the world. How do you find it after making this a second time here in the last 2 years? What's the sticking points for you to making this place really so special?
Well, trust me, Lake Toba and the region around it is absolutely beautiful. Rolling hills, forestry, the lake itself, nature playing a big part. Now, when you think of Indonesia, you always think of Bali. Well, what the government are doing is they're now going to create another 5 Balis within Indonesia. And one of the areas is Lake Toba. So we see new hotels going up, there's new roads coming into this region, and it really is a truly spectacular place to visit when you look around the world. So a lot happening here in the future.
Huge crowds gathering around the pit area, just like a year ago where we had over 100,000 people. Now, yesterday morning, 17 drivers from 13 different nations came out for qualifying in a battle for pole position. And with the new regulations taking effect this year, trying to earn that first spot off the dock in each of these 2 important all upcoming heat races, with each winner earning a possible 10 points. So last year was all about Polish driver Bartek Marszałek. Could he capture pole for a second straight year as well? Let's look back. So as the drivers took off and working their way out onto this lovely 2.22 kilometer race course. Big surprises early, and this was Rusty Wyatt from the Sharjah team, the new Canadian rookie, threw the gauntlet down, set the fast time in Q1, and then later ended up 3rd fastest, a major surprise when he did a 103.459, and you can see the excitement with this new group of people that have come from Canada. Eric Stark, the driver who finished on the podium a year ago here, finished 2nd in the championship. The Swedish driver for the victory team came out and went to number 1 when he did a 102.685. And everybody was chasing that time, and his old buddy, and yes, his old teammate, yes, Jonas Andersson came out and he went even quicker. Wow, he did a 102.662. He beat out fellow Swede Eric Stark by 0.3 of a second. And for the 5th time in the last 6 races, Jonas Andersson, the defending world champion, will start number 1 today in heat number 1. Now, we had a chance to talk with Jonas. He's earned his 3rd straight pole position and his 5th in his last 6 starts, and he continues to dominate in the speed department. Let's hear from him.
Yeah, it was really tough to try to compete with Eric. He was very, very fast, and I have a new boat that I have not been tested proper. I test 5 laps home alone. and we tested it in this morning practice. It was good, but we had some issues, and so I love this new boat, and if we can work a little with it, it's going to be better. And yeah, fantastic qualifying.
Well, the story of yesterday's qualifying was all about a pair of rookies that lit up the water, including Estonia's Stefan Arund, who is starting second. He's the teammate of Jonas Andersson.
The qualifying went better than any of us expected, I think. Ended up holding the third position for a few minutes in Q3 there, but unfortunately, or fortunately for Rusty, but unfortunately for me, he got it from me by, I don't know, a very small margin. So the two rookies made a pretty good qualifying effort.
Of course, he's showing a lot of confidence. Now, last year's pole winner and race winner, Bartek Marzowiak, came on strong late in qualifying, and he'll start third in this heat.
I'm happy that I'm back on the fast track, because after last events I struggled a little bit with some technical failures, which was out of our control because it was really bad luck. But now I feel good in the boat, the engine works well, and I'm happy because it's really a big pleasure to fight in the top 6 for pole position.
Well, young Italian Alberto Comparato had all sorts of bad luck yesterday, and he's going to start in the back of the pack. He'll start number 9 in this heat. He joined the powerful Team Abu Dhabi group, and he talks about his new opportunity to show off his abilities.
After Sharjah, we were getting ready with my team, but then Guido called me, and I couldn't say no to him, because of course Abu Dhabi is the best team on the pit, and it's a huge opportunity for me to race for them. First practice was good. I had to learn their road, because they are completely different to what mine, but I like it, so we see later.
Well, the new season starts, the longest, most technical, attention-getting circuit in the world for powerboat racing. Jonathan, let's take a deep breath and take us around this 9-pin race course here in Lake Toba.
Yeah, well, I hope everybody bears with me on this one, because it is technical and it is really long. So to give you an idea, you come down past the start-finish line into number 1, number 2. That's in the outside of the circuit there. Then you accelerate down 335 meters, coming down into the only right-hander that we've got here, round the right-hander, and then you're down into number 4, number 5, and again, far end of the circuit, throw the boat around there, short shoot, another right-hander, down to another 2 left-handers, you're circling around the bottom end of the circuit, then right up against the roadside itself, and then you're coming around into number 9 and down past that start-finish line for a lap of this circuit here on Lake Toba.
I don't know about you, but I'm getting dizzy already.
Sorry about that, Steve. I was getting a bit lost.
No, this is a very technical course, and actually talking with the drivers, they seem it's pretty nice. They actually can work their way through the confusion, and a lot of drivers from Scandinavia just really enjoy a race circuit like this because they're used to it. Now, 17 drivers from 3 different continents, including a pair of rookies in today's pair of sprint races, with 10 points up for grabs in that first place finish. Let's take a look at how they'll partake this afternoon. Jonas Andersson, lightning quick. He did a 125.13 kilometer per hour lap. Now his teammate Stefan Arund is starting in the 2nd spot. Bartek Marzowiak, last year's winner, will start in the 3rd position. Ben Jelf, who is steadily getting better and better, will start down in that position in the 4th spot. Now Thaniel Quimsey, who struggled a little bit yesterday, is down in an unfamiliar 6th spot. Now Brett Dillard has solved some of the maladies that he has, and he's going faster and faster. I expect big things out of him. And the 2 French drivers for the Maverick team, steady drivers, Cedric Deguine and Alexandre Bourgeot, will be there. And on the bottom, as we talked about, Alberto Comparato, maybe one of the fastest drivers here this weekend. And boy, he hit a buoy underneath the water, and boy, that destroyed the bottom half of the engine, and he had to shut it down yesterday. He didn't even get a chance to get into Q2 or 3.
No, it was interesting. In free practice yesterday, I had a chat with him before he actually went out, and he was saying, you know, they've done a bunch of testing in Abu Dhabi, and they're in pretty good shape. Anyway, in free practice yesterday morning, he was definitely the quickest guy out there. I mean, he was blisteringly fast. And then on the far end of the circuit, he picked up, there was a buoy which had come off a boat, a pleasure boat or something, and it got stuck into his gear case, and on that gear case is the water pickup that cools the engine. and it seized the engine completely. So unfortunately, they had to go out, get another engine, put another engine on, and because they've had to do that, they're at the back of the back of the field as we start here today.
Fans are getting a treat. This is something very, very new on the tour. We played with it last year a bit, and now it's solidly in the schedule for the 2024 season. We're talking about these sprint races, a pair of heat races, and yes, championship points will be awarded. And as we talked about, you win the race, you get 10 points. It's very simple. You finish second, you get 9, all the way down to 1 point in the top 10. So drivers know they can't just lollygag around and finish, because the starting positions for tomorrow's Grand Prix have been decided. They were decided yesterday in qualifying. This is now just a strong way to accumulate points leading through this championship. So these points will count in the World Championship.
Absolutely, Steve. In the past, we tried this system last year, but there were no points awarded. This year now, so people really weren't pushing as hard as they could. But this year, because you've got the points, it could be critical come down to the last 1 or 2 races of the season to decide who would become world champion.
Yeah, and the big thing here, the picture of this championship has really changed in the last few years, Jonathan. There's new faces, new places that we're going to. We're so excited about being here for a second year, and then we're heading off to Vietnam in about 3 weeks' time for the first time ever in the history of this sport. This is the 300th Grand Prix weekend, and yes, at the same time, it's our 40th year. And if you look back on it, Jonathan, you look at the starting lineup, and you look at the rookies that are getting a chance to race for Rookie of the Year honors this year as we get set just moments away from the start of the first of 2 sprint races, which will be 14 laps around. And the big thing is, in the last 4 years, we've lost 3 world champions to retirement. Philippe Shep, he won 4 titles. He won 3 titles with the French team. He is gone. And then, of course, you lost Sean Torrente last year. He is retired. He had 3 world championships. And then Alex Corella, who departed the series in 2019. He was a 4-time world champion. So you add them all up, 3 drivers have retired. You've lost 10 world championships. So this is really something new. It's like we're turning a new page here, Jonathan, in the history of the sport.
We certainly are, but it's really great to see that the new drivers that are becoming involved in Formula One, such as Stefan Arand and a number of the others, Rusty Wyatt now coming in from Canada for the first time. I mean, these guys are no slouches. They've been world champions in many other classes, and as they've come into Formula One, they really have surprised us. I mean, in qualifying yesterday, we didn't expect to see a couple of rookies right up there at the sharp end, and they were certainly showing some of these other drivers the way to go. So over the weekend, it's going to be really interesting to see how it pans out with these drivers. A single lap, Steve, they seem to be able to be bang on the money, and they're really fast. What's going to be interesting is, come the race itself, where experience is going to count for a lot, how will they fare?
We want to welcome everybody around the world. Yes, for us, it's locally just after 11 in the morning here on Saturday morning, but at the same time, people back farther west, Jonathan, it's 11 o'clock in the evening in New York and the East Coast, and a lot of eyes will be glued, of course, to Rusty Wyatt and the Canadians who are in that same eastern time zone of North America, watching their driver as he gets a chance to strut his stuff in race conditions for the first time since he's joined the tour. And then in Australia, a few more hours ahead, so really it's kind of a lunch bunch for them in Sydney and Melbourne and the rest. So it's a worldwide experience for a lot of people. This broadcast is shown live in a lot of events around the world, Jonathan, different countries, and also it's being shown in a delayed format later on, because if it's at 3 in the morning in some places, they're going to say, let's show it later in the day, the next day.
Yeah, and what have we learned so far, Steve, in this first event in 2024? Well, one thing that stood out for me is Jonas Andersen, the current world champion, designed a boat last year with Christian Molgard, a boat designer in Belgium. They built that boat ready for this year. It's been in their container for the last 2 or 3 races, and at the end of last year, he wanted to run that boat because he felt it had an edge on the boat that he'd run throughout the season, but decided not to. So first time on the water this weekend, and I'll tell you what, in practice and in qualifying, my goodness, it's been really, really fast. Looks to me, again, it's difficult to say, but it looks a little bit shorter, seems to accelerate a little bit better, but it's beautifully balanced on the water, and he is going to be the guy to follow this year, and it's going to be interesting to see, because last year we saw Eric Stark pushing him all the way, right the way down to the wire. But it looks like at the moment, as we speak, that Anderson does seem to have that upper hand. But, you know, it's one thing putting in a fast lap. It's another thing actually winning the Grand Prix itself.
Absolutely. And for Jonas Anderson in his first sprint heat, it'll be great for him because he's got his young teammate, the rookie, right next to him who could kind of hold point and let the experienced two-time world champion kind of run off and flutter in the distance and hold up people like Bartek Marzawak, who will be starting third off the grid. He is the defending champion here, and you know that the Polish driver from Warsaw is going to give it all his best. And then the fast emerging Ben Jell from the UK, and we'll see how he emerges out. If you look at the picture there's the light test being done by the scoreboard that we have with the officials. They want to make sure all the drivers can see the lights perfectly. You have to let the officials know by a virtual raising of the hand or passing the word on that if you have a problem with it, you got to let them know right away. But making sure everything is fair and that the drivers can see the lights. And once the lights go off, then we go racing.
Yeah, the other thing that's going to interest me is if Jonas can get the jump on his teammate Stefan Arand. What it will do is it'll allow Stefan, if he's sitting in second slot behind him, he'll be able to study how Jonas gets around this circuit, the lines that he takes coming into the corners, coming out of the corners, how smooth he runs the boat. So it could be a great help for Stefan, if he is in that second slot, to be able to learn from the maestro, which is going to help him for the main event tomorrow and also for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's always nice to be talented like Stefan is, and secondly, signing up and having your buddy and partner in the team being a world champion. So you're right, you can learn so much from Jonas Anderson, and he is a total driver that's committed totally to this sport. Now, it's hard to believe, but it's just been 10 weeks since we last raced in Sharjah when we crowned Jonas Anderson the world champion. And we are here in Indonesia for the second straight year on Lake Toba, and the curtain ready to go up on the racing action. It all begins here shortly as we bring you the first of two 15-minute battles, 14 laps around in this dash for cash and points here to start off this season.
Yeah, watch out for Alberto Comparado. He's starting in that 9th slot at the end because of the issues he had earlier on with the engine and everything. But that Team Abu Dhabi guy, he is on the money, no question about it. And if he can get a nice clean line, watch him come through the field today, because we've seen him in the past. He's now with that, I wouldn't call it the #1 team, but one of the best teams on the circuit, that's for sure. They've got the best equipment, the best of everything. Obviously, Capellini, Guido Capellini, who is many-time world champion, he's guiding that team, and he knows he's in safe hands there. He's put Comparado in the boat this year, which was quite a surprise to a lot of us, but he says he's consistent, he's fast, and he feels that he could become world champion.
Yeah, I was talking with Guido, as you mentioned, yesterday, and he said, listen, this young kid who's 26 years old, had his first race when he was 21, the second youngest driver in the history of the sport to start a Grand Prix, has been on the pole before when he had his own team. He said absolutely what you said. Consistent laps, almost exactly identical, one after the other after the other. He said he's so consistent, and he listens well. He says, when I tell him how to handle this course, where to take through the apex of the corner and so forth, he listens, he does it, and there's nothing but a huge future for him. Now remember, his father, Fabio Comparado, who raced as a teammate with Guido Capellini, who is the team manager for Abu Dhabi, and we know him kindly as the King of Malaysia, because in 2004 he won the Malaysian Grand Prix. So it's a second generation of Comparado working with Guido Capellini, and there's some great old posters of pictures of Fabio when he was side by side with Guido, and a little 5-year-old Alberto sitting there right next to his father. And I don't know, what goes around comes around. It's a new Comparado. And by the way, for the kid, though, he's got to get off the schneid this feeling that he's got to get it right this weekend, because the last 3 races in a row he's crashed out. So let's see what he can do today.
And he's got to come from the back of the field as well, so
Absolutely.
that's not going to be easy. But as we look at these boats, I'll just explain a little bit about how they perform and how they're built. So they're made from carbon fiber. They're about 16 foot long. They're powered by a V6 and also now a V8 4-stroke and a V6 2-stroke. About 400 horsepower. They accelerate from 0 to 60 miles an hour in something like just over 2 seconds. The top speed they're running here is around 140 miles an hour. Now that might not sound massively fast, 140 miles an hour. Trust me, it is on water. And the difference is when you're running a car at 140 miles an hour, you're on a very, very level playing field. So it's all the actual tarmac is nice and flat. But of course, when you're running these boats on the water, you get lots and lots of waves, wind coming in different directions. And I remember once Nicky Lauda actually tested one of these, many-time world champion himself in Formula One. And Steve, he was saying it's a bit like driving a Formula One car across a ploughed field, the buffeting that these drivers get. So there's a lot more to this than meets the eye.
And years ago, Lewis Hamilton took a ride in the 2-seater with Sami Celio, and he got out and his eyes were as big as globes, and he goes, that's big. That's unbelievable. Time for me to leave now.
He did. He said, well, it was exciting, but this is not for me, he said. Yeah.
Exactly. Lovely slow motion shots that we have for you. Thaniel Quimsey, one of the most experienced drivers on the tour. He is kicking off for him his 25th racing season. And Thaniel Quimsey actually began his career back in 2000. It didn't take him long. He's got 152 starts. This will be 153 this weekend. He's got 10 victories. And there you see the youngster that we were talking about, Ben Jelf. He's a 3rd-generation driver. The Jelf family in the UK is very powerful in powerboat racing. And Jonas Anderson, of course, deserves the #1. He has been red hot. He's won 4 races in a row, ending last year. And it's been 22 years since the last time anybody won 4 races in a row. He's trying to make it 5 today. In 2001, it was Guido Capellini who came up and won in Portimao. He also won in Dunois-Varos. He won in Campione, and he did so on a trot, and he was running very, very strongly. And tell you something, if he can pull this off this weekend, he's hitting a note that only Guido Capellini has set when he won 6 in a row.
Yeah. And talking about Jonas there, you know, he's a very talented all-rounder, and that's how he creates this solid package. He's very much involved in designing the boat, Steve, with Christian Molgard. He's involved with the engine tuning and everything else that go with it. So, you know, he plays a big part, not only in driving the boat, but in actually putting that strong package together.
All right, less than 2 minutes to go before the start, and we hold our breath in anticipation as tens of thousands of people are gathering here this weekend as we get set for the first of 2 sprint races. These will be for championship points. The winner gets 10 points. The second place man gets 9, all the way down to the 10th place position. We've got 9 drivers from 8 different countries in this first heat, Jonathan. A truly international field, and we're getting very, very close to the 1-minute signal, and then we will get a chance to get the light structure going. All eyes will be glued on the official starter. The mechanics have stepped off the boat. They've gotten off the sponsons, and the 30-second board now comes up. And we hold our breath here as the drivers now very much alone in their cockpits. They wait for the lights to come on. And the 30-second board comes off. Now just seconds away, the first heat race of 2024, just seconds before they come out. 3 rows of lights. Wait for the green flag and underway, and they explode away from the dock. And as we watch these 9 drivers from 8 different countries come heading down as they work their way down past the race course, it's 435 meters as they'll lead into a A1, A2 alternate. They're going to go around this left-hander, and it's going to be very tight. And once they've circled around the wagons they have here now, it's wide open for these drivers to start powering down toward the front and yes, maintain their lanes. But now it's a free-for-all to see who can pull out. And yes, it's Jonas Anderson getting the whole shot, and look at him go as he goes whistling down the front straightaway. And Bartek Marzawak in a great start. has moved up into that second place.
Brilliant start there by Bartek. He got the jump on Stefan Arand on that start. So as I said earlier on, maybe Stefan could learn from Jonas. Well, it's not going to be during this race as we speak, but Jonas there, what a blistering start. Clear water ahead of him. You're going to be able to see him now gaining on that lead as he gets the clear water before they get into rougher water and the back markers. And at the moment, he's got everything going his own way, Steve.
Jonas Andersson set a wicked mark this morning in practice, a sub 1 minute around this race course. He did a 59-second lap. He averaged 125 kilometers per hour in qualifying, but he went even faster this morning, and he is trying to take the rest of the field to school here as he stretches out the real estate. Look at the lead that the world champion has on the defending race champion, Bartek Marzwak, back in that second place position as they come whistling by us. 1 out of 14 laps are gone, Jonathan. And in third place, Ben Jelf, the man from the UK, looking very strong. Back in that fourth place is Jonas Andersson's teammate, Stefan Arand. And Brett Dillard has moved up from the 6 bodies up into 5th place.
Yeah, Ben Jelf doing a great job there. I had a chat with his father this morning, and he said they've taken 2 or 3 races to get the boat to the liking of Ben's driving style, and they've moved a lot of the weight in the boat. He said before it was just flying on the corners, couldn't get the boat to settle, but they've done a bunch of work, and boy, seems to be working for that young driver from the UK.
Had a chance to see, there he is, Alberto Comparado. We knew he was going to come charging up from the back. He started 9th because of the problems he had yesterday in qualifying. He quickly zipped past Cedric Deguine, and now he has gone by Alexander Bourgault, and he is up into that 6th position, chasing down his teammate Daniel Quimsey, who's at Team Abu Dhabi. Normally you expect them to be up in the top 3. Well, they're down in the 5th and 6th positions, and they're trying to kick their way forward as they're going to try to close up on Brett Dillard as they come by here. And 2 laps in the books, 12 to go.
And this is where it's going to be important tomorrow come the main event, Steve, because pole position for Jonas, you could see there how much of an advantage it was, but he earned it. You know, he was the fastest guy out there in qualifying. He got that, so he gets a clean line. Nobody can pull across him if they're slightly ahead of him coming into the first turn. And you can see how he had that clear water and now been able to build up that great gap. But boy, that new boat that he's running seems to be doing everything just right for him. Yesterday he had a problem with the fuel tank, so his qualifying time wasn't as good as he was hoping, because he had to carry about 60 litres extra of fuel on board because it was cutting out in the corners. But last night they built a new fuel tank, they put it in there, and this morning after practice I went over, I said, how's it all going? He said, absolutely fantastic. We can now cut down the fuel load, the boat's going to be lighter, so hopefully it's going to be even faster.
Championship points up for grabs, Jonathan. As we well know, you win, you get 10 points. Finish second, you get 9, third 8, all the way down to the 9th position where you pick up a pair. So it's very important to be strong here, and right now that's exactly what Jonas Andersson is doing. But again, Bartek Marzwak is getting the groove, the man from Poland who really struggled after his dominant performance a year ago where he took the pole and won the race, and then it took him to the very last race in Sharjah 10 weeks ago where he picked up a couple of points. He led the championship for a few months, and then he ended up with 22 total. So he's trying to make a statement again and spin it around and get a positive weekend.
Yeah, as you said with Bartek last year, really fast in the first couple of races. Then he had some technical problems. It took them forever to find out what it was. They didn't know what it was, some wiring issue or whatever. But all of a sudden, coming here this weekend, they changed a lot of the setup, changed a lot of the wiring, the boat, the looms and everything else, and really gone to town in trying to find that problem, which they have. And he's putting up a great show out there at the moment. But look at the gap between first and second. My goodness, 8.6 seconds. But Jelf hanging on in there at the moment, little way further back, and showing that slowly and surely, more time in that boat, more Grand Prix, and he's definitely moving up the field.
Yeah, Stefan Arand really was struggling there as he started second. He's down into 4th, but he's learning. He's a rookie. He understands this. Ben Jelf jumped all over him and moved up into that 3rd place position. So the young Brit, who is doing so well now, up into the top 3. Brett Dillard, who was Rookie of the Year last year in the CTIC China boat. You see him in that white boat. He is in that 5th spot. He's being chased by a pair of Team Abu Dhabi boats, Daniel Quimsey and Alberto Comparado, as you look at the young rookie from Estonia, the first driver ever from Estonia.
Yeah, doing a great job out there. I mean, he's in that 4th position at the moment, so he's learning with every lap. And it surprised me a bit because he had a blistering start. He was right up there in 3rd position, but it didn't take long for Ben Jelf to get around him. But he's hanging on in that 4th position. Seat time is imperative, Steve. It's all very well just doing that one-lap wonder, but now he's learning the trade of actually racing the craft itself. He's done a great job in Formula 3 last year, finished 3rd in the championship, many-time world champion in the smaller classes, which is great, so he's got a good grounding moving into this year.
Yeah, you just had a chance to see the high shot that we had from the drone, and you get a chance to look at the water conditions. Now, last year it was a nightmare out here, as Mother Nature was not very kind to us, stirred up the water. You had 1 meter waves. It was almost impossible to race once you hit the 12 o'clock hour. We got the race in last year only because we ran the shortened Grand Prix in the morning. So this year, the UIM officials sat down and they figured the best thing to do is to run this program in the morning and look at the conditions. It's picture perfect, Jonathan. Everybody can go racing and they can go full blast here.
Yeah, I'm only guessing, Steve, but I'm watching Stefan Aran going around there, and the trim of the boat does seem to be a little bit erratic. So I hope I'm wrong, that he doesn't have any issues with the trim, that actually sets the boat on the water, allows you to glide it on the top of the water as you go around the circuit. But only time will tell, and we'll have a chat with him afterwards just to see exactly how his first run in Formula 1.
With RON 98, Pertamax Turbo is formulated for perfect performance. From fast road racing to smooth city driving. Pertamax Turbo, perfection in performance.
Sania Royal Rice Bran Oil dengan powerful gamma oregano, sempurna untuk menggoreng dan masak apapun yang kamu suka. Sehat tanpa batasan, Sania Royal.
Pas aku coba Le Mineral, seger banget, nggak bikin enak sama sekali.
Benar, karena Le Mineral mengandung mineral esensial yang tercantum jelas di kemasannya. Inilah yang membuat rasa airnya lebih segar.
Kayak ada manis-manisnya.
Le Mineral.
The young driver from Italy, that's Alberto Comparado, the 2nd generation driver who started way in the back. He had real bad luck yesterday, and as we talked about, he ended up hitting a marker that was submerged and ended his day in tears as he took the boat off the race course. But now he's back in full song. He just can't seem to catch up with his teammate. They're right there close together. He's been able to move up 2 spots, Jonathan, but he's trying to get up into the top 5. It's so important to get points here.
Yeah, you know, with the slower boats, it's quite easy to make your way around those slower boats. But then when you're coming up into the midfield, Steve, some of these boats, there's only a split second between, say, the first 4 or 5 boats on lap time. So as soon as he catches up to Tani, you can see the boats, 2 boats coming into shot there. What's happening is he's getting some of the dirty water, some of the spray off the back of Tani's boat, and it's going to be one thing to catch him, but it's going to be another thing as you see gets that spray and the dirty water there as he tries to close down. He's trying different lines around the corner, going wide, going tight, see if he can make some progress.
All right, Brett Dillard now, this gentleman from South Carolina who won the Rookie of the Year last year, finished 10th in the championship. He's had all sorts of problems, Jonathan, getting ready. Why? Because last year at the last race in Sharjah, half his boat was cut in half. He had a massive accident. The only accident that he had all year long is his father, Steve, part of the Dillard Financial Solutions, a very successful company in South Carolina in the USA, and he's trying to take it to the top today as this Southerner, who played college basketball, by the way, a very talented sportsman, is doing his best to make an ID for himself. Another one of these North American drivers that have joined the World Tour. And yesterday he had all sorts of problems with batteries, and they had to take a couple of batteries out and a lot of weight. They had forgotten that they had left a bunch of weight in each sponson, and they took those out, and they go, wait a minute here, because they had a free-for-all getting the boat ready.
That's right. I mean, after the accident at the end of last year, what they had to do, they had to fly half a boat in a fuselage of an aircraft over here, and when I say scarf it in, they had to join them, that new half, to the existing part of the boat. And I'll tell you what, if anybody's had bad luck over the last year or so, my goodness, it's Brent Dillard. And let's just hope now that, going forward, he's definitely got his confidence back. The boat's running strong, and keep our fingers crossed that we can see really what he is capable of in the championship this year.
Well, here's the youngster out of Maidstone, England, 23-year-old, the second youngest driver on the tour. As Ben Joe for the F1 Atlantic team. He's a third-generation driver. And Uncle Owen, who raced in Formula One back as far as 1996. Now, he got better as the season went on, Jonathan. He finished last year in a high, earning his first points with an 8th place after starting 16th in Sharjah. And he's slowly and he's a fast driver. I mean, he's getting the hang of it now, finally. For him, this is only his 8th start. He's got 16 British speed records, and so he knows how to fly across the water, but it's just a learning curve for him.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier, his dad said earlier on today that they've had the boat now for, I'm not quite sure how many Grand Prix, but when they got the boat, it was not to their liking, the balance of the boat, and he said that every time he was coming into a corner, he'd overshoot the turns. But they've obviously moved a lot of stuff around, as I said earlier, and really made it more to his liking. And his dad was saying this morning that it really has made a massive difference in his lap time. So keep an eye on him for this year, Steve. A strong midfield runner.
Here's the two-team Abu Dhabi boats. The youngster Comparada trying to catch up to his veteran teammate, Thaniel Quimsey. They're getting very, very close. They're just a shade over the situation right now, and the gap between Comparado and his teammates just over 2 seconds. So we'll follow this out here. We're under 3 laps to go. The first of 2 sprint races for you that we have. We're splitting the field up in half, and we're fighting for valuable championship points. As you look, Bartak Marzoak, and Bartak is doing his best to try to stay close to Jonas Anderson, but Anderson is just out running away from it right now. He's a third of a lap ahead of anybody else.
Yeah, and he's probably just cruising. Believe me, I do not believe for 1 minute that he is driving that boat at 100%. He's just getting used to it. As I say, he's done very little test time in it before coming here, so we can only assume that as time goes by, Steve, that Jonas is going to be even faster. Just to give people an idea as well, at the moment we're running half the field in this event, half the field in the next event today, and then tomorrow it's going to be a different ball game. It's going to be, because it's all of the boats out there tomorrow on the same circuit. Trust me, it's going to be a lot rougher. The winds are going to be out tomorrow. We've heard that the rain is coming in a little bit. So then that is really going to sort out from the men, from the boys, and the experience that some of these drivers out there is going to come into play in a big way.
Tell you what, Bartak Marzoak in his 13th season, Jonathan, we're shaving this down. We're getting ready to wrap this up. We're on the final lap, and Bartak Marzoak doing his best to stay close to Jonas Anderson, but he's a good 13 seconds in arrears to the defending world champion Jonas Anderson, and he is fighting his way around this race course. And Owen Jelf could be the surprise here, the number 3 man. But Jonas Anderson sliding through the final of 2 right-handers. He's almost home, looking for those 10 points that he desperately would like to kickstart this 2024 season and start it off on the right way. He knows, because his old friend and housemate Eric Stark, who's going to start on the pole in the next heat, you know he's going to be the favorite to pick up 10 points himself. So here he comes out of the final corner as he makes his turn. And yes, he dashes to glory as he picks up the first heat win, as he just cruises across the line and gives a victory salute to all the tens of thousands of fans here. He made it look easy as Bartak Marzoak hung in there, trying to stay as close as he could. But big news is that the Polish driver has got some valuable championship points. Jonathan, he's got almost half the points that he got a year ago in just 1 heat race.
Yeah, my goodness. I think he's only going to get faster. But, you know, he's got to have that reliability as well, because I'm sure that those engines have been pushed to the limit that he tunes back in Sweden. And, you know, but he does seem to have the reliability, touch wood, so far. And he had it last year for sure. So it's, yeah, he's put up some performance there. Been sponsored by Vietnam Binh Dinh this year for the first time. I think he's got a multi-year contract with them. I'll tell you what, I bet they can't believe their luck that they are involved with such a strong team going forward.
They earned it. They let them, a lot of people know that they were chasing down new sponsors, and being the defending world champion, it was easy. And Team Binh Dinh Vietnam said, we are coming on board, and why not, with a world champion that really is at a high of his game right now, as Jonas Andersson is on the fly, as we talked about with 4 straight victories that he had a year ago. Well, you know what? Again, no one's done that in 2 decades, so that's really incredible to watch him mature and maturate. He goes all the way back, and his first race ever was back in Portugal in 2006. He got his first pole the same time in Doha in the same year. He got his first victory that day, and his first podium was in Sharjah. So he had a pretty good first season as he battled Jay Price for Rookie of the Year award. He's a 4-time Formula 2 world champion, and he knows how to win championships, and he's now a multi-time world champion.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting tomorrow, Steve, because the water was really calm in that heat race there.
They finished up those 14 laps. Jonas Andersson won from the pole. Bartek Marzowak came charging up from 3rd to finish 2nd. Ben Jelf nicely from 4th to 3rd. And Stefan Arendt came back in that 4th position, dropping 2 places for the rookie. Brett Dillard ended up 5th. He started 6th. And then Thaniel Quimsey, who had started 5th, dropped a position. Alberto Camparata was dead last. He came off the dock in 9th. He moved up 2 positions. And then Cedric Degain and Alexandre Bourgeot finished off in 9 positions. So everybody picks up a point or 2. Not a bad start.
And that might mean a lot at the end of the year, Steve.
Absolutely.
Because it is close out there, you know. And you assume, come to the first race, it looks like Jonas has got everything under control at the moment, but things definitely change as the year goes on.
So Jonas steps out, and it's a great way to get the momentum going. The crowd's loving this so far, as they've got people down in the massive facilities off to our left. And there's Janie Pearson, longtime lovely wife of Jonas, and she's hands-on. I'm telling you, Jonathan, she is right there in the mix. She's not only on the headsets talking to her husband, threatening certain things to him if he doesn't do well, and at the same time she's in the workshop, and she's helping him side by side during the long winter months, which will carry on, by the way. This is a late winter day, believe it or not, here in the Northern Hemisphere, but it's, you know, it was minus 20 the other day in Sweden, so needless to say, they're slowly getting used to the heat. But for some drivers in Scandinavia, it's not an easy thing.
No, it certainly isn't. And, you know, a big shout out to his team as well, Steve, because it's all very well Jonas getting the glory for doing all the work in the cockpit out there, in his office, as he likes to call it. But, you know, he has a dedicated group of engineers that go to every Grand Prix with him. I mean, they're so driven. They're all the same. Jonas, Jenny, and all of them really are...
Apapun pilihan teman perjalanan, roda 2, 3, atau lebih dari itu, Pertamax siap hadirkan energi yang hidupkan sensasi berkendara yang lebih maksimal.
10 dari 10 wanita ingin kulitnya lembut. Sabun susu Larvia dengan ekstrak susu kambing. Meresap lebih cepat, lebih dalam sebelum dibilas. Larvia, makin dipakai, yakin lembutin kulit. Ada lotion susu juga. Yang ada, kambing cantiknya.
Sania Royal Rice Bran Oil dengan powerful gamma oryzanol, sempurna untuk menggoreng dan masak apapun yang kamu suka. Sehat tanpa batasan, Sania Royal.
Pas aku coba Le Mineral, seger banget, nggak bikin enak sama sekali.
Benar, karena Le Mineral mengandung mineral esensial yang tercantum jelas di kemasannya. Inilah yang membuat rasa airnya lebih segar.
Kayak ada manis-manisnya.
Le Mineral.
I think he was a little bit guarded about his chances, but I'll tell you something. He walks in here and he's got a lot of confidence. He's strutting his stuff, feeling good. We call him Mr. Miami. He is just quite the driver, and I'll keep an eye on Eric Stark. We could have a great start in tomorrow's main event in the Grand Prix. Now, Canadian rookie Rusty Wyatt opened up a lot of eyes with his jaw-dropping third-place qualifying performance yesterday. Could he be the star? The next one coming from North America.
Well, this is the main goal. I said if I can make it into Q3, that's a huge accomplishment. So this is only where we're starting. You know, we got a long race ahead of us, so I hope we can maybe make up a couple positions and stay on that podium.
Well, two-time world champion Sami Selio, who struggled early in qualifying before finishing sixth for the Grand Prix tomorrow. Can he reach the podium here for the second straight year? Let's find out.
Yeah, the time trials was quite okay. We had a lot of small issues and we was not right with the setup and the prop choice, and then in the end I was getting better and better lap times all the time, but in the lap what felt best we ran out of fuel, so we was not counting in that I need to make so many laps to get the good times, and unfortunately it was the case this time, and then we couldn't improve the times there in the top 6, but it's okay. It's start of the season, so we had some bad luck, but we can manage those and repair that stuff, so we will be strong in tomorrow.
Well, Selio's got to be excited about starting third in this second heat race that's coming up here shortly as the boats are up and getting ready to work their way through as we can get the second heat underway. There are a pair of 14-lap races, heat races, and as we talked about, important points that they'll be chasing down, Jonathan, and we've had a lot of interesting starts to this year already. The big story really is that Jonas Anderson is back on prime and he is ready to go, and at the same time it's also the youngsters that are stepping in, not only the two rookies but also drivers like Ben Jelf and also Brett Dillard and a few other names, including Ferdinand Zandbergen, who will be starting in this second heat, who are trying to make their mark in this sport as well. It's, as you well know, it's not easy. You can't do it right off the bat. It takes time to build up confidence and get the feel of Formula One, stepping in especially from smaller formulas where the horsepower just is not the same. The boat acts differently, and it's a different ball game altogether.
Yeah, and also the drivers, I do feel, I mean, they're at the top of their game in Formula One, and you know, obviously it's not just down to a fast boat and a clear lap. It's down to race strategy, choosing the right propellers, tuning the engine, getting the balance of the boat. I spoke a little bit about Ben Jelf earlier today, where they said that they've worked on that and started improving performance for him.
All right, speaking of Ben Jelf, he's here, the man from Kent, England. Hey, 23-year-old Oldsta, third-generation driver. Nice job, buddy. Finished up in that third slot.
Steve, it's a very proud race for us, especially. I can't fault our performance and the team. We worked so hard this whole weekend for it. So yeah.
Yeah, you ended the season in a bang last year, picked up your points after Sharjah, where you finished 8th. You tied for 17th, but I'll tell you something, after struggling your way through this first season, it seems like now you've had a chance to sit back, think about it over the off season. What do we got to do to get it right? And it looks like so far things are going your way, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, things are really going our way. As I say, we've been working very hard. So every race that we do, we're making improvements and we're increasing our speeds. We're increasing our, our lap times, and honestly, it's paying off, and I'm really happy about that.
Well, there's, you know, idols that you've had over the years. I know you had a picture of Jonathan Jones in your bedroom wall when you were just a youngster.
I doubt that.
Flying across the, you know, being in Bristol. I mean, how much does the tradition for the UK mean to you and the family? It's up to you now to carry the mantle on.
So what it means to me, it means everything. It is my entire life. So we worked so hard, and so my family, from my granddad to my dad's, my uncle Owen as well, and myself, we're all world champions, and we always strive for this. And I think being like the only British driver at the moment here, this means a lot to everybody at home as well.
Because just one thing I noticed, that last year you seemed to be a lot on the back foot, and you know, you were really sort of struggling with the handling and things like that. So you've obviously changed a lot in the boat, I guess, to make it more suitable to your driving style. Give us an idea as to what you've done and how it's helped you.
I can't tell you too much, otherwise I'll give you all the secrets.
Oh, there we go.
Very good.
Ever the confident one.
Tell you what, the secret that I know of that I've seen from you is you're going to be a factor tomorrow. Best of luck. Great day so far. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you very much.
Ben Jove, ladies and gentlemen, the driver who finished third in that first heat, the 23-year-old third-generation driver from Kent, England, and tell you what, he surprised me. He was caught up in the mire of idiosyncrasy last year, trying to get himself going, and boy, he finally figured it all out. And toward the end of the year in Sharjah, now it's a little bit better.
But just remember, I mean, he's still a rookie. He's done a number of races, and he's just feeling his way. And I'm sure come by mid-season, he's going to even be faster. So a guy to look out for in the future.
Bartek Marszałek, our great driver from Warsaw, is sitting with 162 career points. And Bartek, thanks for stopping by. This is your 56th start. I can't believe it's been 13 seasons, but you are the man from here last year. Everybody took your photograph. You dominated here a year ago. Qualifying, you got #1. The race, #1. And what a great start of last year. And it looks like you're picking the pace up again this year.
Yes, let's hope I will stay on this track, because after last race here in Indonesia, I get many technical issues. Generally, to make long story short, my life last year was the biggest amplitude, because it starts with winning here in Indonesia, then I get a very bad, as you know, diagnosis of my daughter, which is sick, and I'm fighting for her life. So it was really up and downs. But in the racing, I believe that I'm back on track, and we need to avoid some technical failures. And for sure, like a driver, I'm capable to drive fast.
Okay, just a couple of questions from me. In fact, one question. Where do you see yourself in the main event tomorrow? I mean, you're definitely performing well. Times are good. What do you need to do to win this race for a second time?
Now it's quite difficult with Jonas, because he is... He is like rabbit, he's like Jack Rabbit, like you are saying during the lives. I will do my best, but I need to search for more performance on these new rules with this new fuel. I know that there is some margin that I need to achieve, so this is not the end of my story.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. I tell you, it was great. You look good, you look solid, and we wish you a best performance tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Bartek Marszałek, ladies and gentlemen, our guest. He finished second in that first heat. And he's got hopes and dreams of, getting back on the podium for tomorrow after winning the race a year ago. And now stepping in, yes, the man of the hour. Actually, the man of the last, probably the last 14 months. Jonas Anderson. Hello, my friend. Good to see you back in that #1 spot again. It's been so long. Great run, by the way. So for you, the big thing is you took him to school, you got a big lead, and then it looked like it kind of backed off a bit. You won by about 13 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday in the qualifying I had some problem with my new boat. But the boat is fantastic to drive, so I mean, it's... the boat is fantastic. Now we fix it, I stop her.
Well, the big thing, too, is that boat was a mystery to you last year. It sat in the barn, and you didn't take it out of the paddock barn until toward the end of the year. But, maybe you felt like it's bad karma if I take it out because I'm winning this championship.
No, we wanted to test it last year, but we should test it in Sharjah, but then we had an issue with it. When you have a new boat, it's difficult to have everything ready.
Jonas, just a couple of questions from me. The boat looks amazing on the water. It's been pretty calm so far, and obviously you dominated today. How do you think it's going to perform in the rougher conditions tomorrow?
I mean, I think it's gonna be okay. Sure, it's a more aggressive boat, so it's gonna be more difficult than my old one. But I mean, the feeling in the boat is fantastic, and yeah, I love the boat.
Hey, great start to the whole season. You're on the pole. You won the first heat race. You got 10 points in the bank, my friend. Not a bad way to start the first day of the season.
No, it has been a great. We got help yesterday from the Sharjah team to repair my fuel tank, and I'm very happy to Scott and the boys who helped me with it. And we don't have that knowledge in the team, and they helped us fix it. And that's friendship. And now it's working like. It's fantastic to drive. It's so fun to drive. I mean, it's for me who's lived for this. It's an old idea I put in this boat, and seems every one of them is working. So.
All right, we're going to have to add the Sharjah flag and the USA flag on that boat as well as Vietnam. Congratulations. A great day so far. And we will see you on the pole tomorrow, my friend.
I hope. Thank you.
All right, you bet. Thank you. Jonas Anderson, who is the defending world champion. And he has been on a roll lately, so he's feeling really confident. Jeez, Jonathan, I mean, he's just, you know, normally his personality, he's got a great personality, but he doesn't walk around with a grin on his face all the time. He's showing a lot of confidence.
Yeah, he's got his feet on the ground, Steve. He's not overconfident, and trust me, Steve, he knows what he needs to do to get the job done.
Well, all right, let's take a look. That was Heat 1. Let's take a look at Heat number 2, and it'll be Eric Stark who starts from that position. A fellow Swede with Jonas Anderson. He did a 102.685. He missed the mark to be number 1 by 3 100ths of a second. He'll start first. And then the talk of North America right now, Rusty White, who comes over from the North American Tour, a rookie, driving for the Sharjah team. He'll start in that second spot. Third is the two-time world champion Sami Seljo from Finland in the new Red Bull team. He'll be in that third spot. And then Peter Morin, the driver from France, who will get a chance to run. He finished fourth in the championship last year, and he's sitting fourth off the dock. And then Marit Stromoy, as she continues to fine-tune the new engine that Mercury has put together. She'll start fifth. Philip Roms, who was running very strongly in practice yesterday, maybe a bit disappointed, Jonathan. He's starting sixth in this race. He'll start 12th tomorrow. And then Ferdinand Zandbergen. Now, here's a guy that we expected a lot more out of, but he had a bit of problems, and he's way down in seventh. And then Duarte Benavente, who is trying to chase some championship points. He got none last year. He'd love to get some right here.
Yeah, Zandbergen, I know yesterday he had a trim problem, he was saying. So that obviously it takes quite some time to change all that hydraulic system, and that put him on the back foot. Philip Roms had a chat with his dad this morning, and they had some of the telemetry was not giving him the correct feed, which meant that they couldn't really tune that engine to the optimum, and that probably affected them a little bit.
Well, as you get a chance to see the drivers getting set and lined up here as we get ready to go. I think I said it's Red Devil.
Yeah.
There you go. We got it squared away. New team this year, new sponsor. It's great. Red Devil, of course, has been around for a while, and the owner of the company, a great guy, Ari, and it's good to see him back on the tour and helping out his best buddy, Sami Seljo. It's a great sponsorship package. And then Ferdinand Zandbergen carrying over also his family company where they distribute. They're one of the biggest meat producers in distribution throughout Europe, mostly chicken, and they're very successful in that business.
Yeah, and all credit to Ari that, he owns the Red Bull brand. He also owns Mad Croc, which are an energy, I beg your pardon, Red Devil, not Red Bull. I do apologize for that. And he also owns the Mad Croc brand, heavily involved in powerboat racing, helped a lot of younger drivers to come through the field, and has been a big supporter of Sami Seljo over the last probably 10-15 years.
All right, as the mechanics get ready, putting the boats in position, we're getting close to the 30-second board as it comes up. And the second heat is about ready to go off in earnest. They see if they can explode away from the dock here and kick in this next 14-lap race. This is the second of two sprint races that we have for you this afternoon. Second row of lights, third row of lights on. We hold our breath. We wait for the lights to go off, and they're on the way, and they explode away from the dock. And it's Eric Stark, the Swedish driver, who finished up second in this championship. trying desperately to hold the position. Now as the drivers come down 435 meters, setting up into these two turns, very tight here, the green buoys, as they slide around the corner. And as he comes by Rusty Wyatt out of Canada, right there hugging off the heels of the Swedish driver. So Eric Stark and the Victory team trying to pull away as he comes charging down. And as they come by, a good battle going on for this third place spot here as they come charging. That is the second position being held by Rusty Wyatt. And at the same time, he's being pushed all the way down into turn number 3, Jonathan.
What a start there by Stark, no question about it. He's going to be pushing hard tomorrow for the main event with Jonas Andersson. Team Dubai, Team Victory have definitely upped their game over the winter. They've been working hard to try and close that gap, and it's going to be really interesting as we see this ding-dong battle. But Stark at the moment leading the way from Rusty Wyatt. Wyatt putting up a great performance. We didn't know anything about this driver prior to coming here. Boy, is he putting on a good show.
Good run right now. Maret Stromoy trying to hold off the charges of the two-time world champion Sami Seljo back in the 5th position. As we see our leader, Eric Stark, who disappeared from the tour for 4 years, and then he got back on it last year, and he really made a statement, Jonathan. He's looking for his first race win since Sharjah of 2018. He would love to get it this weekend. It'll be great to see him and his fellow friend from Sweden, Jonas Andersson, battle side by side as we see Maret Stromoy of Norway come through. And there's Sami Seljo right behind. Wow, there's a lot of Vikings in this field, a lot of Scandinavians, and it's great to see it in this sport. You think with the ice and snow, what the heck, boat racing? But it's huge up in Nordic America and in Nordic Europe.
Yeah, but as you see Eric now starting to open that gap, 2.5 seconds between himself and Rusty in second position. Now third, Peter Moran. Big shout out to Maret Stromoy. All of these engines are either 2-stroke or 4-stroke engines. Maret is introducing the 4-stroke engine, the Mercury 4-stroke, for the first time into Formula One and running in that 4th position, putting up a strong performance, and must be happy with the progress that they're making.
Well, the winners so far, of course, Eric Stark leading, and Rusty Wyatt holding his position in 2nd place. And another winner is Peter Moran. He's moved from 4th up to 3rd, dropping down, however. Maret Stromoy was in that 5th spot, and she's moved up to 4th, but Sami Seljo's dropped down 2 places from 3rd to 5th in the standings at the moment. And take a look at Philip Rams. He's in that 6th spot. That's where he started. Zandbergen's still mired down in that 7th spot, and then Duarte Benavent bringing up the rear for the veteran driver from Portugal, who last year, oddly enough, didn't pick up any points, but if he finishes today, he will pass his full season last year of point totals. You got to be happy for that. That'd be great.
I'm sure he's going to be really happy as we pick up, I beg your pardon, Philippe Schaap there, many-time world champion. He's now on the radio to Peter Moran for Team China and explaining exactly how the boat's running, because he's got a wealth of experience, talking to him about how he can improve his performance as this race goes on.
It's great to see Sami Seljo back in the Red Devil colors, because this is a blast from the past. He used to run with those colors, and it also helped him on his way to a world championship. So maybe a bit of luck that his sponsor Ari can turn it around for him and get him back going. But he's dropped a couple of spots. He's got to focus and move himself up, because again, these are valuable championship points, and you don't want to lose them here as we complete 3 of 14 laps. This is sprint race number 2, and this will set up for tomorrow's Grand Prix. We'll be back on the air again the same time. It'll be 11 o'clock local time here in Sumatra. And you march backwards, and it's going to be early in the morning, Jonathan. If you look at UTC or Greenwich Mean Time, it'll be 4 o'clock in the morning, and it'll be 1500 in Sydney. And it'll be 11 p.m. on the east coast of North America, not on Sunday, but on Saturday night. So it'll be a Saturday night run for the roses and championship points in round number 1.
Yeah, Ferdinand had dropped back a little bit there, Steve. Let's hope that the problems that he had in testing are not still on that boat, but putting up a strong performance nonetheless as we pick up Rusty Wyatt there in that 2nd slot, hanging on to Eric Stark, but 5 seconds behind him now, so But at the same time, Rusty actually didn't sit in that boat. He's never driven one of these DAC boats built in northern Italy. He never sat in one until yesterday. So bearing in mind that, he's not doing a bad job out there, Steve.
Yeah, right now, Philip Rahms, we're watching, Jonathan, trying to hold off the charge of Ferdinand Zandbergen. These two drivers are doing their best to try to fight to get up into the top 5, and it's very close right now on the water. Zandbergen, as I said, started down in the 7th spot. That's exactly where he is mired at. But remember, this is a very talented driver. I mean, here's a youngster who came 2nd runner-up in Rookie of the Year a couple of years ago. This is only his 3rd full season. He's from Warmond, Holland. He's 28 years old, and he's been a tremendous driver ever since he started in Formula 4 and went up into the Formula 2 championship, but he won a race in his very first full season.
Yeah, and I think if everything's going his way, if he's got good, solid equipment underneath him, he's probably one of the fastest guys out there, because he's shown it many, many times in the past. When he first came into Formula 1, he was a bit flighty. Do you remember? We raced in Portugal, and I was thinking sometimes, how is he keeping that boat on the water? But, you know, with time, he's calmed down a little bit, gained experience. And as I say, if everything underneath him, he's got the right prop, the right engine, the right boat, there's no question that this guy is true World Championship potential.
Yeah, I think that's a point we had to work a little bit further on, Jonathan, because I don't know, with you look back on your first few years of being in Formula 1, it took a while to learn the limits. Now, it happened with Sean Torrente back in 2012. He crashed out a couple of times. He had to learn the limits. And this kid here, Ferdinand Zandbergen, who crashed out a few times, he's, as you said, settling down, trying to feel the limits in the boats.
Yeah, you look at some drivers and you think they just got something a little bit better than everybody else. All the drivers here, very professional, very experienced. But you see sometimes that driver that seems to have that little edge in certain areas, in the setup of the boat and everything. And I just feel that Ferdinand is actually one of those people, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on during the season as we pick up Wyatt. They're running that boat a little bit loose at the moment, Steve.
Rusty Wyatt, one of 7 drivers in the last 15 years from North America to come over and to make an appearance on the World Tour. He raced 4 years in a row in the North American Tour. I was with him in 2022 when he won the Lake Havasu, Arizona Classic, which was a big afternoon. And he's got some wonderful people working with him, including Mark Major, who was the first driver in North America to bring over to America the French Moore design boat that he raced and eventually put Rusty in the boat. And Rusty did very well. He finished up in the top 4 in the championship last year in North America. But boy, did he surprise. He had never been in a DAC until yesterday, Jonathan.
Exactly.
And you should have seen the big smile on Scott Gilman's face, who runs this team, because he said, this kid's aggressive, and he's going for it.
It's quite surprising. I said to Scott, so tell me, why did you pick this guy? Scott, he's pretty laid back, and he said, well, you know, I've watched him in the US. I think he's got potential, but he really did not know. Having potential and actually putting up lap times and trying to win Grand Prix is very different. But he seems to have, I tell you, Scott's face is definitely, the smile has got bigger with the more time that he spent with this guy. And another thing, just a big shout out as well to Alex Letton from Canada, who I'm sure was a big part in getting Rusty Wyatt in that team this year and giving him the opportunity that he deserves.
Eric Stark right now 6 seconds ahead of Rusty Wyatt. He's 9 seconds ahead of Peter Moran, the driver, finished 4th in the championship a year ago. And the big thing right now is that Rusty Wyatt is just hanging in there. He's not dropping back too far. Remember that last race that we had, Jonas Anderson was 13 seconds ahead of the closest driver, and right now it's still a pretty good dogfight between first, second, and third.
Yeah, my guess is that Eric, because we know that he runs pretty much near lap times to Jonas Anderson, and my guess is that he's backed off just a little bit in that. I mean, when I say a little bit, he's probably not quite so aggressive coming into the corners. He's now backed off a little bit with RPM on the engine because they don't want to put too much stress on it for the main event tomorrow, but he's doing more than enough to keep ahead of that second place driver, Rusty Wyatt, who I've got to say is driving off his socks here this weekend.
All right, 9 laps in the record books. We're past the 2/3 mark here. as we watch the veteran driver, Peter Maret. He came into this sport, Jonathan, as he was one of the best endurance champions in the world. He ran the long races, the 24 Hours of Rouen and other endurance championships. He was a multi-time French world champion. And there you see Mark Major on the headset and the Sharjah team talking to his close friend. And you see, they're a laid-back crew. I mean, these guys are just enjoying life. And, of course, Scott Gilman brings with them that very bit of calmness with him as we see Sami Selio now. Selio is still in that 5th place position after starting 3rd. So what do you think? I mean, Sami's in a position now. He's gone 30 races without a victory. He hasn't won since 2016. He's got the most pole positions of anybody on this tour with 26. And I think he's trying to find his groove back right now. He's been struggling a bit. He only finished in 9th place last year in this championship.
I would agree with you, Steve. You know, Sami on his day, well, if we go back a few years, I mean, there was no one to touch him. He was so fast. He was winning races, winning championships, and he was the benchmark for a long time. And then he just seemed to have lost his way a little bit. And I said to him yesterday, I said, you know, it looks like you're getting back into the groove again. And he said, I do. I feel confident. I think we can really work with the team to move us forward, and watch out for them during the season, because I know he's in that 5th slot as we speak today, but come the main event tomorrow, when there's lots of traffic out there, when it gets a lot rougher, you're going to see a different Sami Selio.
Yeah, Eric Stark, as he completes another lap, going around here in the 2nd sprint race, just 3 laps left to be run. Stark, who's a 3-time runner-up in this championship. I'll tell you something, a couple years ago in 2018, he and Sean Torrente were right there, dead level at the very end. And Sean did just enough to win the title at the very last race in Sharjah, but this man won the event in 2018. And I'll tell you, he was putting on a show. Probably the most impressive victory I've ever seen was London, back in 2018 when he drove for the Maverick team.
Yeah, I tell you what, I remember the British Grand Prix back in London, and the conditions were absolutely horrendous. The wind, the waves, and you're in a dock there, so the water hits the walls, comes back in, and it's like a boiling cauldron. I think I could explain as that. And this guy was untouchable all weekend. Everybody else, they were struggling with the handling of the boats and everything, and it really did show how good this guy Stark is when he dominated that weekend. And I think he's going to be probably the one guy that can take that fight to Jonas Andersen this year for the world title. It's going to be really interesting to see how that pans out.
All right, as we watch the driver as he works his way around this race course for the victory team, Eric Stark, 36-year-old from Stockholm. He's been on the podium 7 out of 17 race starts. He has 3 victories during that time. And his first career pole was back in Sharjah in 2015. A long time, 4-time F2 world champion. He knows how to run and win at the highest level as well as the lower levels. He came up nothing but success as we look back at Rusty Wyatt.
Yeah, and you know, you were talking about Eric there, and I think you mentioned earlier on that in fact Eric and Jonas used to live together. They used to share whether it be an apartment or a house or something in Sweden. So great pals. Fantastic grounding that they've had in all the classes coming up. Formula 2, they were untouchable. Now in Formula 1, they seem to be doing the same thing and dominating.
Yeah, Eric last because he's about 13 years junior of Jonas Andersen, and he says, he was my idol. I always looked up to him as a big brother. So there you go. Final lap here on the 2nd sprint race of the day as we get closer and closer to tomorrow's Grand Prix here for the Pertamina Grand Prix of Indonesia. That'll be taking place tomorrow morning at 11 p.m. local time as we open up and raise the curtain on the 2024 season as Eric Stark goes down on the far side of this race circuit with tens of thousands of people as he comes down heading right toward the grandstands off to our left here. And as he comes by in that beautiful DAC boat, the victory team, and it looks like it's going to be official. The Swedish sweep is complete, Jonathan. There you have it. Yep. Another Swede, another victory, and Rusty Wyatt continues to be the talk of the town. The youngster out of Canada will finish in the 2nd spot, And coming home third, and a good run is Peter Maret. As he moved up a spot, he'd take the top three. He will pick up some 12 points, or he'll pick up actually himself in the 8 points in that third place position. As we watch the rest of the drivers coming around. And there's Philip Roms, and here's Sami Celio, 2007-2010 world champion, will finish in that 5th position. So, great racing here as fellow Finn, you can see him, Philip Roms, and the teammate with Rusty Wyatt coming home. And he finished up in the 6th position. Ferdinand Zandbergen, I don't know, Jonathan, he tried his best to make a statement, but he got mired in mediocrity. He just couldn't get going. And then, of course, Duarte Benavent, the oldest driver on this tour, came home in 8th position. And there you go.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, tomorrow, watch out for the start, because we've got Jonas in pole position, Eric Stark in 2nd, and like Eric said to me this morning, I gotta beat him off that start line into the first turn, boy. So watch out for that tomorrow, because I think between those two guys, they are going to make a really, they're going to make it a very, very exciting race. And you know, the thing is, Steve, the guy that gets the jump into the first turn, he's going to have that clear water. I know I spoke about it earlier on today, and that's going to give a big advantage. So who's it going to be? Is it going to be Stark? Is it going to be Anderson? It's going to be really interesting to find out.
And it's going to be tight going around those first 2 commitment buoys as they circle the wagons and head down the front straightaway. They've got to maintain their lead. In the driver's briefing, they said, look, we can't continue with what happened in Sharjah, where one of the drivers missed in staying in his lane and he caused a bit of mayhem. So everybody so far in this weekend looks like they're minding their P's and Q's and their manners. So let's take a look at the unofficial results here. Sprint race number 2 as you watch the world champion contender Eric Stark pull in to end the day. So Eric Stark picks up 10 points, Rusty Wyatt 9, Peter Maret 8, Maret Strumloy.
With RON 98, Pertamax Turbo is formulated for perfect performance. From fast road racing to smooth city driving. Pertamax Turbo, perfection in performance.
Sania Royal Rice Bran Oil dengan powerful gamma oregano, sempurna untuk menggoreng dan masak apapun yang kamu suka. Sehat tanpa batasan, Sania Royal.
Pas aku coba Le Mineral, seger banget, nggak bikin enak sama sekali.
Benar, karena Le Mineral mengandung mineral esensial yang tercantum jelas di kemasannya. Inilah yang membuat rasa airnya lebih segar.
Kayak ada manis-manisnya.
Le Mineral.
That he's with a good team, Victory team out of Dubai. I mean, you know, they build their own boats. They're very, very experienced both in inshore racing and offshore racing, and have been for many, many years. And he knows he's in good hands. He doesn't need to worry about too much. He knows he'll get the best engine, the best boat, the right propellers, and that's helping him. So the Victory team, it probably suits them to have him as a driver as he is, a little bit laid back, rather than that driver that's really full on with everything like Jonas, you know. So the chemistry there, I'm sure, is pretty good.
Yeah, I loved it. The 2 drivers hugging afterwards, Eric Stark and the rookie Rusty Wyatt. 2 drivers from the Great White North who love hockey, and they've got a lot in common. It's fantastic. Now, hey, by the way, don't forget to come back tomorrow for a pair of our wonderful race that we'll have for you, the Grand Prix, as we get set for the 2nd Grand Prix of Indonesia tomorrow, starting at 11 p.m. So for my longtime friend Jonathan Jones and our expert international TV crew, I'm Steve Michael saying, let the sun shine in and make it a great day. So long, everybody.
Apapun motornya, apapun gayanya, apapun medannya, no problemo. Karena olinya... Oli enduro, motor tangguh, no problemo.
Sania Royal Rice Bran Oil dengan powerful gamma oregano, sempurna untuk menggoreng dan masak apapun yang kamu suka. Sehat tanpa batasan, Sania Royal.
Pas aku coba Le Mineral, seger banget, nggak bikin enak sama sekali.
Benar, karena Le Mineral mengandung mineral esensial yang tercantum jelas di kemasannya. Inilah yang membuat rasa airnya lebih segar.
Kayak ada manis-manisnya.
Le Mineral.
Apapun motornya, apapun gayanya, apapun medannya, no problemo. Karena olinya... Oli enduro, motor tangguh, no problemo.
Sania Royal Rice Bran Oil dengan powerful gamma oregano, sempurna untuk menggoreng dan masak apapun yang kamu suka. Sehat tanpa batasan, Sania Royal.
Pas aku coba Le Mineral, seger banget, nggak bikin enak sama sekali.
Benar, karena Le Mineral mengandung mineral esensial yang tercantum jelas di kemasannya. Inilah yang membuat rasa airnya lebih segar.
Kayak ada manis-manisnya.
Le Mineral.
Apapun motornya, apapun gayanya, apapun medannya, no problemo. Karena olinya... Oli enduro, motor tangguh, no problemo.
Sania Royal Rice Bran Oil dengan powerful gamma oregano, sempurna untuk menggoreng dan masak apapun yang kamu suka. Sehat tanpa batasan, Sania Royal.
Pas aku coba Le Mineral, seger banget, nggak bikin enak sama sekali.
Benar, karena Le Mineral mengandung mineral esensial yang tercantum jelas di kemasannya. Inilah yang membuat rasa airnya lebih segar.
Kayak ada manis-manisnya.
Le Mineral.
Apapun motornya, apapun gayanya, apapun medannya, no problemo. Karena olinya... Oli enduro, motor tangguh, no problemo.
Sania Royal Rice Bran Oil dengan powerful gamma oregano, sempurna untuk menggoreng dan masak apapun yang kamu suka. Sehat tanpa batasan, Sania Royal.
Pas aku coba Le Mineral, seger banget, nggak bikin enak sama sekali.
Benar, karena Le Mineral mengandung mineral esensial yang tercantum jelas di kemasannya. Inilah yang membuat rasa airnya lebih segar.
Kayak ada manis-manisnya.
Le Mineral.
Apapun motornya, apapun gayanya, apapun medannya, no problemo. Karena olinya... Oli enduro, motor tangguh, no problemo.
Sania Royal Rice Bran Oil dengan powerful gamma oregano, Sempurna untuk menggoreng dan masak apapun yang kamu suka. Sehat tanpa batasan, Sania Royal.
Pas aku coba Le Mineral, seger banget, nggak bikin enak sama sekali.
Benar, karena Le Mineral mengandung mineral esensial yang tercantum jelas di kemasannya. Inilah yang membuat rasa airnya lebih segar.
Kayak ada manis-manisnya.
Le Mineral.
Apapun motornya, apapun gayanya, apapun medannya, no problemo. Karena olinya... Oli enduro, motor tangguh, no problemo.
Sania Royal Rice Bran Oil dengan powerful gamma oregano, sempurna untuk menggoreng dan masak apapun yang kamu suka. Sehat tanpa batasan, Sania Royal.
Pas aku coba Le Mineral, seger banget, nggak bikin enak sama sekali.
Benar, karena Le Mineral mengandung mineral esensial yang tercantum jelas di kemasannya. Inilah yang membuat rasa airnya lebih segar.
Kayak ada manis-manisnya.
Le Mineral.
Apapun motornya, apapun gayanya, apapun medannya, no problemo. Karena olinya... Oli enduro, motor tangguh, no problemo.
Sania Royal Rice Bran Oil dengan powerful gamma oregano, sempurna untuk menggoreng dan masak apapun yang kamu suka. Sehat tanpa batasan, Sania Royal.
Pas aku coba Le Mineral, seger banget, nggak bikin enak sama sekali.
Benar, karena Le Mineral mengandung mineral esensial yang tercantum jelas di kemasannya. Inilah yang membuat rasa airnya lebih segar.
Kayak ada manis-manisnya.
Le Mineral.
Apapun motornya, apapun gayanya, apapun medannya, no problemo. Karena olinya... Oli enduro, motor tangguh, no problemo.
Sania Royal Rice Bran Oil dengan powerful gamma oregano, sempurna untuk menggoreng dan masak apapun yang kamu suka. Sehat tanpa batasan, Sania Royal.
Pas aku coba Le Mineral, seger banget, nggak bikin enak sama sekali.
Benar, karena Le Mineral mengandung mineral esensial yang tercantum jelas di kemasannya. Inilah yang membuat rasa airnya lebih segar.
Kayak ada manis-manisnya.
Le Mineral.
Dengan Fastron, pakai Fastron. Fastron, gas on! Apapun mobilnya, kemanapun tujuannya, oli yang memahami semua mobil di Indonesia. Fastron, gas on!
10 dari 10 wanita ingin kulitnya lembut. Sabun susu Larvia dengan ekstrak susu kambing. Meresap lebih cepat, lebih dalam sebelum dibilas. Larvia, makin dipakai, yakin lembutin kulit. Ada lotion susu juga. Yang ada, kambing cantiknya.
Sania Royal Rice Bran Oil dengan powerful gamma oregano, sempurna untuk menggoreng dan masak apapun yang kamu suka. Sehat tanpa batasan, Sania Royal.
Pas aku coba Le Mineral, seger banget, nggak bikin enak sama sekali.
Benar, karena Le Mineral mengandung mineral esensial yang tercantum jelas di kemasannya. Inilah yang membuat rasa airnya lebih segar.
Kayak ada manis-manisnya.
Le Mineral.
Ya pemirsa TVRI Sport, tadi sudah kita saksikan bersama berlangsungnya Sprint Race 1 dan juga Sprint Race 2 pada hari pertama gelaran F1 Powerboat 2024. Dari sprint race pertama kita tahu sang juara dunia 2023 Jonas Anderson yang saat ini membela tim Benden Vietnam sukses menjadi yang tercepat, unggul dari pembalap lain dan ia mencatatkan selisih 13,741 detik dari Bartek Marzalek yang merupakan pembalap dari Stromy Racing yang finish di peringkat kedua pada sprint race pertama. Sementara untuk sprint race pertama di posisi ketiga adalah Ben Jelf yang tertinggal cukup jauh dengan selisih 19,298 detik. Memang pada sprint race pertama diikuti oleh 8 rider, jadi dibagi menjadi 2 grup. Sprint race pertama diikuti 9 rider maksud saya, dan sprint race kedua diikuti oleh 8 rider. Selain Jonas Anderson, Bartek Marzalek, Ben Jelf, ada juga Stephen Aaron dari tim Benden Vietnam yang finish di posisi keempat. Lalu di posisi kelima ada Brand Dillard dan di posisi keenam ada Daniel Kamzi, Albert Comparato, Cedric de Gusne yang tertinggal 1 lap, dan di posisi terakhir atau di juru kunci adalah Alexander Burgat yang tertinggal 2 lap. Dan untuk sprint race kedua pemirsa, yang finish tercepat adalah Eric Stark. Ini memang sesuai juga dengan hasil kualifikasi yang sudah berlangsung kemarin. Eric Stark ini unggul 7,138 detik dari rookie musim ini, yaitu Rusty Wyatt yang kini membela Sarjah. Sementara Eric Stark sendiri saat ini tergabung di Victory Team dan sukses mencatatkan waktu tercepat pada sprint race pertama. Sementara untuk sprint race pada kesempatan kali ini di posisi ketiga di kelompok kedua ditempati oleh Peter Morin yang tertinggal cukup jauh dari Eric Stark dengan 18,3 detik, disusul oleh Maret yang merupakan pembalap wanita satu-satunya di ajang F1 Powerboat 2024 ini. Lalu ada Sami Celio, Philip Roms, dan juga Ferdinand Zandbergen, serta yang terakhir adalah Duarte yang tertinggal 1 lap pada sprint race kedua. Dan dengan hasil tersebut pemirsa, kita sudah mengetahui siapa-siapa saja pembalap yang memang mencatatkan waktu terbaik pada sprint race, dan ini menjadi gambaran untuk kita melihat seperti apa posisi akhir pada balapan utama yang akan berlangsung pada hari Minggu esok. Dan setelah ini kita akan menyaksikan bagaimana berlangsungnya kompetisi solo bolon yang diikuti oleh atlet-atlet dari kota kabupaten sekitar Bali Gay. Pemirsa, demikian yang dapat kami laporkan sejauh ini dari Danau Toba. Kita kembali ke Brigita.
Baik, itu dia laporan langsung dari Erza Nabila dari spot terdekat, di mana tadi kita sudah menyaksikan bersama, tepatnya di Pelabuhan Mulia Raja ini, penyelenggaraan F1 Powerboat Lake Toba 2024 di sprint race pertama dan juga kedua. Dan memang tadi luar biasa begitu kita rasakan antusiasme dari masyarakat menyaksikan sprint race pertama dan juga sprint race kedua yang tentu saja diikuti oleh 18 rider dari 9 tim mewakili 6 negara yang berbeda. Dan memang kalau tadi kita melihat dari sprint race pertama, di mana dengan posisi pertama dipimpin oleh Jonas Anderson dengan nomor urut 1 mewakili tim Bin Vietnam asal Swedia, dan juga posisi kedua yang diraih oleh Bartek Marzalek nomor 77 dari Stromy Racing mewakili Norwegia. Dan memang kalau kita melihat dari sprint race pertama ini ada perubahan posisi juara jika kita bandingkan dengan F1 Powerboat di tahun 2023, yang mana di tahun sebelumnya Bartek Marzalek ini meraih posisi pertama pada penyelenggaraan F1 Powerboat 2023. Dan kalau kita melihat juga pada sprint race kedua, di mana yang diawali juga dengan parade dari 9 rider dan juga mewakili 9 tim yang berbeda, kita melihat di posisi pertama ada Eric Stark dengan posisi pertama mewakili Victory Team asal Uni Emirat Arab. Yang mana jika kita membandingkan dengan penyelenggaraan F1 Powerboat di tahun 2023, Eric Stark ini meraih posisi ketiga. Dan yang mana tadi sudah kita saksikan bersama di sprint race kedua ini, Eric Stark menduduki dan berhasil mencapai posisi pertama. Kemudian juga diikuti di posisi kedua oleh Rusty Wyatt nomor 17 mewakili Sarjah tim dari Uni Emirat Arab. Kemudian diikuti posisi ketiga ada Peter Morin nomor urut 7 asal tim China City IC. Dan yang tidak kalah menarik pada penyelenggaraan sprint race yang kedua ini, ada satu-satunya rider wanita yang juga ikut menyemarakan dan juga mengikuti ajang F1 Powerboat tahun 2024. Dan tidak tanggung-tanggung pecinta olahraga bukan hanya ikut mengikuti perlombaan dan juga menyemarakan saja, tetapi juga berhasil mendapatkan posisi keempat pada tahapan sprint race yang kedua ini. Ya, itu dia sprint race pertama dan juga sprint race kedua pada tahapan ajang F1 Powerboat Lake Toba 2024. Dan tentunya ajang F1 Powerboat 2024 ini juga akan tayang lagi besok dengan tahapan race lainnya. So, jangan kemana-mana. Saya Brigita Kue pamit undur diri. Kita ketemu lagi esok hari dalam F1 Powerboat Lake Toba 2024.
Within the midst of the world's largest volcanic lake, F1 Powerboat Lake Toba is back. Another action-packed chapter in racing is about to unfold.